Hey, what's up, everybody? This is DX Strike, and you're watching Game Fiends. Now, today's topic I would like to talk about is arena fighters. Now, I love arena fighters because there's so much potential within this subgenre. In all my years of playing arena fighters, there aren't really a whole lot of good ones. The reason why I bring this up is because in my last video, where I talked about the best anime game ever made, I mentioned arena fighters when I brought up Black Clover Quartet Knights, and I didn't want to go super into it because I thought it would be smart to save it for another video just to focus on this topic. So now, here we are. Now, looking back, I played some good ones like the OG classics Power Stone, which I loved because what made this gem unique was the fact that the stages were interactive. Plus, while fighting your opponents, there were stage mini games and bosses. And if involved while fighting and achieving goals, then you have Bushido Blade. Now, this game was before its time because it was so realistic. It had the feel of samurai movies, running through vast environments, strategically attacking your enemies, and whatever vital part you hit on your opponent, decide how your opponent will react. Like, for instance, if I cut your leg, you would start limping, or if I sliced your arm, your two-handed weapon will become a one-handed weapon because that other arm is no longer good. Then there's the modern good ones like Gundam Versus, Shinobi Striker, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2, Dissidia and T, which I'm gonna come back to that later in a minute, but you also have J-Star's Victory Versus. Now, J-Star's wasn't perfect. It had flaws from super busted set of characters, the lack of variety in mechanics, and last but not least, there weren't many things you can do in that game when it came to content. But I enjoyed it very much, playing the game with my brothers and friends, and also having outrageous battles online. I mean, J-Stars was way better than Jump Force because Jump Force was garbage. I mean, complete and utter garbage, trash. And despite it looking better than its predecessor, even though it still didn't look all that great, the animations were horrible. They took out the destructive environments, which was dumb because the environments added some strategic aspects to the game, using buildings and big mountains to give you an advantage when you battle. Then they did the most stupidest thing ever they could have ever done, which was take out the 2v2 part out of the game. That was outrageously disappointing because me and my brothers were hyped when they showed this game during 2018 E3. Boy, man, we were salty as hell. But anyway, developers can't seem to translate all of 2D fighter elements into arena fighters, so I understand that everyone will have button mashing with directional changes. Now that's cool, but to spice an arena fighter up, you have to have destructive environments and add something unique and fun mechanic wise. Like, for instance, Final Fantasy Dissidia and T based on the very popular JRPG franchise, so it makes sense to implement RPG elements like magic, ailments, buffs, and summons, and even a class system. Now, some might say, Dissidia isn't, all that good, it's dead because, blah, 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 blah. Well, shut up, alright? Shut up. Forget all that. You know what I'm saying? It only didn't do good because Japan did horribly when it came to marketing this franchise, their baby. Especially when it came to America. America was pretty much left in the dark when it came to, updates to mechanics and character DLC, stages, all that. And they did really bad with that. And then on top of that, the biggest problem it had was the servers, making it hard to find matches. And the game didn't have rollback connections, so a lot of times you ran into people who had bad connections who were lagging and it messed you up. You didn't really get good matches sometimes. Every now and then you would. So yeah. So anyway, that's bullcrap. You can't use that as an excuse. It was a good game, it was just marketed bad. But anyway, moving on. Now in this game you have categories that each Final Fantasy character could fit in based on their gameplay, which were Vanguard, Assassin, Marksman, and you have Specialists. Now, I'm going to use my characters, for example, that I used in this game, and I'm going to start off with Cecil. Cecil was a Vanguard, which a Vanguard is pretty much a tank in this game, where their combos aren't super crazy at times, but they can rack up a crap ton of damage, and they can stun you pretty good because of hard hits. And then I used Noctis, who was an Assassin. Assassins are really fast, and they can do long string combos, and they have awesome recovery. Then next up, I played Terra. Terra, she was a Marksman, and Marksmen are usually the ones who cast spells, whether healing or attacking, or they use pretty much ranged weapons. And then last but not least, you have the Specialist, which my boy Vaughn, he was that type of character where he was a hybrid of other categories, like a mixture, or just unique in general. I love Vaughn because he had a unique ability that was called Dreadnought. Since this game was based on building attack points, all you had to do was stack them up high to killing points and turn Dreadnought on, And when you do that, it locks your points in so you don't have to lose them. Then all you do is just go around the field and just kill your enemies with one hit. I loved it. I was destroying. Like, I used to love using Vaughn. But then again, I hated fighting other people that had him too, because they were able to do the same things I was doing. So it was kind of broken at the same time. Now moving it forward, what they could have done with Jump Force was they could have kept what they had in J-Stars, build on that, take some inspiration from Dissidia and other things like it. Now check this out. I'm gonna build my own team using the Dissidia format. So let's say I have Sasuke, Asta, Natsu, or Hime. Yeah, we can rock with that. All right. Now I'll label Asta as a Vanguard because he can distribute massive damage with the strength of his 2 swords. He can block and take damage along with his anti-magic ability, which negates certain attacks. And don't forget his Black Asta form. Now that form is going to be broken, but it makes sense because he's a Vanguard. They take really good damage. Then you have Natsu. I'll label him an assassin because he's really fast with his fire attacks and he's very combo heavy. I would imagine him having good recovery, especially either having his Dragon Slayer form or his half dragon form, and his special ability would be eating fire magic, which could heal him or boost his fire attack. Then you have Orihime. I'll put her as a marksman because she can cast healing abilities and barriers with protection. Also, her special would be, I guess, Solitary Sacred Cutting Shield. That sounds good enough for me.
Now, when it comes to Sasuke, I was a little bit in between, and the reason why is Sasuke has a lot of range attacks, and he's also good up close with hand-to-hand combat. They used to call him a genius, sort of like Neji. So I was in between him being a marksman or a specialist, because like I said, a specialist is usually a mixture of like 3 of the classes, like marksman, Vanguard, and what else, an assassin. So he has the speed of an assassin, and he's as powerful as a Vanguard, and he's also has the ranged attacks of a marksman. So I think that that was kind of hard for me at first, but I'm like, you know what, since he's pretty much has all 3 of those, I'm going to put him in the specialist. You know what I mean? So he can have his Susanoo ability, which can protect him, and also it covers a vast range of, you know, of the field. So I guess your teammates can get behind him, whatever. And he also has the Susanoo also has a range attack when he shoots the chakra arrow. Now obviously, since he's a specialist, he definitely has to have a unique ability besides how he moves around the board and how he fights and stuff like that. So obviously, if you know Sasuke, you know his signature move, and his unique ability would be Sharingan, which means he can copy other people's abilities and stuff like that, and, you know, do things that the Sharingan does. So that would be his unique ability, sort of like with Vaughn, where he can build up his attack points, store them, and then just one hit people depending on how much damage that he racked up. So that's the way I see him being. So they could have also added 3v3 and 4v4. That would have been awesome as well, although one might say that would be too chaotic, blah 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 blah. But hey, options. There's nothing wrong with a game having options, you know. But the one thing I did like about Jump Force was the fact that you can knock over your opponent from part of a stage to another. Now that was a good addition. And I almost forgot about the game. I did not like the character creation because it was just bland and generic. The whole reason why I anticipate these shonen jump fighters is because I want to use some of my favorite shonen characters. Duh. Like, why would I want to create my own character, like in a shonen jump game full of different characters that I like? That's stupid. Plus, when you run on the game with your character, the head always bobbling something crazy, like, and then like your character's having a seizure. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on this game and Arena Fighters. But what do you think? Do you agree or not? Let me know in the comments of what you guys think. You can like, subscribe, comment. See you guys later. This is DX Strike. You're watching Game Fiends. See you Game Fiends later. Peace.